You're listening to Happy Healthy Hormones with Dr. Chris. Are you tired of the short-term patch to your health problems? Is avoiding medications and surgeries important to you? If you answered yes, then your prayers have been answered. Dr. Chris has been helping people transform their health for over a decade. He's a world-renowned health expert who specializes in holistic health. He's a professional speaker, chiropractor, and international best-selling author. It's his mission to help you reach your full God-given potential through holistic health and healing. Get ready to be inspired and transformed. Here's your host, Dr. Chris.
Hey there, everyone. This is the show where disease takes a dive and people come to thrive. So today, in episode number 1, I just want to share my story. I want to share why it is I do what I do, why I'm so passionate about helping people through natural, holistic health, helping people avoid the medications and the surgeries, how I really ended up really doing what I do and becoming known as a wellness expert as well. It's kind of a funny story there, just a roundabout way and path and how I got to where I am in my life today. And, you know, it's funny, things never really go as planned in life, and those turn out to be some of the best things that happen to you in your life as well. And so, you know, when I first got into thinking about what did I want to do with my life, you know, there's all kinds of things that went through my life. I mean, I grew up on a farm in a small town, thought about being a farmer, being an orchardist. You know, of course, you grow up, you want to be a professional athlete. My brother was an awesome college athlete and even got into the NFL for a little bit. And so I was like, oh, maybe I should do that. That'd be so awesome. And, you know, just went through this progression. And I would shadow doctors in high school and figure out, okay, what kind of doctor did I want to be? I wanted to help someone in the health field somehow. And, you know, going through college, you know, I ended up playing collegiate sports and playing football there. And you know, I just would hurt myself all the time. And I was like, man, there's got to be a way. And it ended up ruining and ending my career as an athlete. And I was like, man, there's got to be a better way to help people, like to help people avoid going down this road and just being just devastated or just always struggling with this kind of stuff. I was like, there's got to be a better way. And so I actually thought about that, and you know, I thought about going into personal training. And when I settled on it, I was like, you know what, I'm going to become a dentist, right? Like that sounds like a great profession. You know, the dentists that I know, they're always, you know, working like 3 days a week. They go and play golf all the time. My dentist lived in a big house. It's like a great profession to be in, right? And so I was actually just about ready to graduate from college, and I was working for my brother. He has a construction business, and I was working for him, and I ended up injuring my shoulder, and I couldn't work for him anymore. Like, just couldn't do it. It was like manual labor, done. So during my recovery, he found me a job, and the job he found me was actually with one of his buddies who happened to be a chiropractor. And so I had some experience with chiropractic a little bit. You know, when I was injured in football as a young kid, you know, I'd go and get adjusted and feel better, and that's pretty much all I thought about it, and that was it. And so as I started to job shadow and then actually become an assistant underneath these two chiropractors, man, I started to see all these miracles happen in their office. I see women who hadn't been able to get pregnant and have a child finally be able to conceive and start a family. I saw people that had struggled with migraines their whole life just see those things disappear, and digestive problems, and you name it, just all these miraculous things just start to improve. And I was like, okay, there's something going on here, right? There's something I'm missing. Like, okay, I could help people being a dentist by working with a small area of the body called the mouth, but what if I could work with the whole nervous system? Wow, like how many more people, how many more lives could I impact if I could do that? And so I actually end up switching gears, and I decided to go to chiropractic school, and not really even knowing what chiropractic school was. I saw these two doctors, Dr. Gary and Dr. Brandon, and they were just awesome people. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to go down there. I don't really know what it is, but I'm just going to do it. And so I went down there, and then I started to realize all the possibilities and really the philosophy behind real health and healing is about. And then from there, you know, I started to learn more about natural and holistic health and other avenues of that, from things like nutrition and toxicity and balancing hormones and repairing digestive systems, and, you know, just all these aspects of health and wellness, and just started to just build on top of those things, you know, get that foundation and start to build on top of that. Well, so I got out of school and started to practice, and at that point, it was still really just a profession for me. You know, it was something that I could help people with and make a living for a family when I started that one day. And it really wasn't until I met my now wife, Deidre, that it became more than that. See, when I met Deidre, her health was miserable. I mean, she was getting migraines so severely that she would have to call in sick from work and close herself off from the world. She was getting those all the time. She was getting sinus infections, colds, flus so frequently that she was living on antibiotics. Her sleep started to be affected by that, and so she was getting at best 1 or 2 hours of sleep a day. And I say a day because she just wasn't sleeping during the night at all, and so that led to anxiety and depression and more medications, and she had literally lost her health at the age of 26. And I had seen people lose their health before. I mean, I saw my mom go through cancer, but it was different with Deidre because I was right there. Like, I would see the suffering that she was going through versus when I was going through those things with my mom. I was protected. I was younger. My parents protected me from probably all the behind scenes stuff that I don't even remember. And I remember watching Deidre cry herself to sleep at night because she was just so miserable. And I wanted to help her so bad. And even though I knew I could help her, I knew that I couldn't help her until she decided to help herself. And I remember just realizing, like, wow, this is affecting so many areas of her life. I mean, it was affecting not just her body, but it was affecting her social life. It was affecting her family, her profession, her dreams, everything that she worked so hard for. And I'm thankful to say that Deidre drew that line in the sand. She decided to take back control of her health, and she started to apply the foundations and the principles that I'm going to be teaching you guys throughout these podcasts. And, she was able to rebuild the foundation of her health, and week by week, she started to get better and better. And, today she no longer gets migraines. She doesn't get sick. She doesn't have to be on any medications. She can sleep a full 8 hours through the night. And more importantly, she was able to get back to a level of production and back to her passions in life, to where she was able to start her own business and start to impact tons of people through her passions and what she was most dedicated to in her life, what fulfilled her and filled her love buckets and everything else in her life as well. And so that's what it's all about. And so that was a difference maker for me, because at some point during that transition, it hit me that I had to do more to help individuals like my wife, to help families regain their health. And that's when it became more than just a profession for me. That's when it became a mission. It became a mission for me to help individuals like yourselves reach your fullest potential, families not be torn apart because someone in your life has lost their health. And so my goal during these podcasts is not to transform anyone's health 180 degrees. It's going to take a little more than just a few minutes to do that. But rather, my goal is to challenge the way you think about your health. And if we can just shift the direction your health is headed by maybe just 10 or even 15 degrees, and allow you to take action on that, then we can help you get one step closer to overcoming that struggle, that symptom, that limitation that you're dealing with in your life, and help you just get back to living your fullest God-given potentials. And that's really what my purpose is about. It's not about just helping people feel better or to get out of some pain. Those things are great, but we're always going to have pain in our life to some degree, right? We're going to stub our toe. We're going to do something we shouldn't have. So those things, they come and go. But more importantly, I want to help people reach their fullest God-given potentials. I want to help you reach your fullest purpose, back to your old level of productions, get back to your passions in your life. And that's really what it's about. And so really what we're going to be uncovering is really helping you understand the 5 foundations of your health. So that's why I've written a book, an international best-selling book, The 5 Foundations of Remarkably Healthy People. And when you look at that, it really breaks down the most foundational aspects of your health. And some of these things you might know innately, right? And some of them you might not. But when we look at these things, we have to say, okay, what are we doing to improve our health? Are we just covering up the symptoms? Are we just doing another thing to patch us temporarily so we can get to the next day? I get it. Sometimes it's exhausting. You just want to feel better. You just want to have a little bit more energy so you can just get that next thing done or just finish the day. But the saddest thing, in my opinion, is finding someone who is alive but isn't living life, right? I think you know what I'm talking about. There's just a huge difference in that. So we got to get that passion back, and it comes through our health. I've seen so many patients. I mean, I've seen thousands of patients at this point. And when it all comes down to it is it's never usually a major thing in our life that affects everything in the position that we're in now with our health. Sometimes it can be, but more often than not, it's just the little things we do on a daily basis that we don't think are that big a deal, but it's the habits we've created that now are just catching up with us, and now we're having some big issues, right? Now it's affecting our hormones. Now it's affecting a chronic disease that we're having. And at the end of the day, our goal is to not fix you, right? You're not broken, right? You're created in perfection, but rather to just get you back to that old level of production. And although we might not be able to get you back to where you were when you were, 20 years old or 20 years ago, whatever that was for you, there's different variations of good. And so we got to get you back to your best you and be able to get you to a point where you can maintain that through your life so that you just aren't limiting yourself as you get older. Because that's the saddest thing I see is people just limiting what they're passionate about as they get older. You should be able to increase the amount of passionate things you do in your life as you get older, not the opposite. And so I want, as you get into retirement, to have those be the awesome years, not just in retirement, but now, right? And it takes time to heal. That's the most important thing to understand is when we go through these processes together, and I start to help you uncover, kind of like an onion, you start to uncover those layers of your health and say, oh, wow, okay, I didn't realize this, and okay, maybe I wasn't doing that. Okay, here's an area that I can improve in, and maybe this is the right thing that I should be doing for my lifestyle. You'll start to just uncover those things until you get to the level of where you're back to where you want to be, you're enjoying life, and you can maintain that and not just getting worse. And so our whole goal, remember, is to help you avoid the medications, avoid the surgeries. Those things have their time and their place. It's called a crisis, but it's not what is supposed to just be part of your life like it's a staple. It's like air or water and medications. No, that's not how we're designed to be. And so when we look at things and we go over these 5 foundations, we're going to look at things like function, which is the nervous system. That's where all the healing and repair comes from in our body. How is that allowing our body to adapt to the physical, chemical, and emotional stresses in our life? We're going to look at food. What are we putting in our body, right? What are the best types of foods? Are there certain types of supplements we should be putting into our bodies? What can we do to help rebuild our body, whether it be our hormones, losing weight, avoiding chronic disease, more energy, whatever it is for you. And then looking at fitness as well. Are you doing the right types of exercise? How are you implementing those things into your life? And what's the best way to do certain aspects of your fitness? And there's just so much with that as well. And then we also look at filter, which is toxins, right? Oh man, we are so toxic. What can we do to get that out of our lives? What is that creating? I mean, there's a lot out there. And then also looking at freedom. And that's the last foundation, but one of the most important, because it's freedom in your finances, freedom in your relationships, your spiritual life, just helping you be able to perceive and deal with the different stresses that we have in day-to-day life, and how you're taking those on and what you can do to help your body adapt to those better as well. And so, I look forward to helping you, and I look forward to just getting your feedback, and I just looking forward to just helping you empower your life and get to that next level of health and just start living a life full of purpose and full of freedom. And just remember, when we go through these steps and we go through these life hacks and everything else, just remember that you need no help healing, just no interference.
Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please help more people in reaching their fullest potential and rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. For show notes and other free resources we mentioned today, go to newedgewellness.com.